You think you know someone? You think you can trust them? My name is Lily, and I was in love with a man who had a charm that could light up the darkest of rooms. But as I sit here, I realize that his charm was the very thing that led me into a web of lies, betrayal, and heartbreak. This is the story of how I became entangled in a world of polygamy, where love was just a game and I was just another pawn, a game that ensnared not just me, but 7 women who fell victim to his calculated seduction. It all started in that coffee shop. Jack had this magnetic pull. Linda, with her fiery red hair and emerald green eyes, was immediately captivated. They met when she spilled coffee on his expensive suit. Instead of getting angry, he laughed and asked for her number to discuss dry cleaning arrangements. She wore that black dress like it was made for her on their first date, and Jack could hardly take his eyes off her. I watched from a distance, my heart racing. Little did I know I'd soon be caught in his spell, becoming the 4th woman in his harem of hearts. Then there was Sarah, blonde, bubbly, and always the life of the party. A pharmaceutical rep who met Jack at a medical conference where he posed as a surgeon seeking new equipment for his private practice. She had this infectious laugh that made everyone turn their heads. Jack was smooth as silk, weaving his charm around her. I could see the spark in her eyes, the way she leaned in closer, completely unaware of the game he was playing. Even after finding suspicious texts on his phone, he convinced her they were from a desperate patient, and she believed him because she wanted to. Jack was a master manipulator. He made promises that shimmered like gold. To Linda, he painted a picture of a life filled with love and adventure. He proposed with a ring he claimed was his grandmother's heirloom, the same ring he had given to his first victim, Rebecca, who was still waiting for him to set a wedding date after 3 years. Behind closed doors, he was juggling us all, spinning lies like a seasoned performer. I was falling for him too, unaware of the storm that was brewing. He found me at my lowest, after my mother's funeral, offering comfort that felt like salvation, and then came the near misses. One fateful afternoon, Linda and Sarah crossed paths at his supposed office building. My heart stopped. I held my breath, praying they wouldn't recognize the threads that linked them to Jack. I could see the confusion in their eyes, but Jack smoothly introduced Linda as his sister to Sarah, claiming they were meeting for lunch. Somehow they both left without realizing they were both part of his twisted love story. Mia was the latest to fall for his charm, a talented pianist who had been giving Jack lessons for months, though he couldn't play a note. She was stunning, with dark hair cascading over her shoulders, and that red dress hugged her body like it was painted on at the recital, where he publicly dedicated his progress to her talent. Jack was relentless, and I watched as he effortlessly won her over, all while keeping the other women in the dark. She would practice for hours to compose pieces just for him, believing he appreciated her art when he was only appreciating the access to her wealthy social circle. But Jack had a secret. While he wooed us with lavish dates and expensive gifts, he was using us to fund his lifestyle. Each of us thought we were his one and only, but in reality, we were all just pawns in his game. I was starting to realize that his charm was nothing more than a facade. There was Rachel, who sold her family home, the one her grandfather had built, because Jack convinced her to invest in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that would set them up for their future together. The money vanished, and so did his affection. He would ignore her calls for days, then reappear with excuses about business trips and a small gift that cost a fraction of what he'd taken from her. Then there was Vanessa, the accomplished attorney who defended Jack when he was accused of fraud by another woman, a woman he claimed was a disturbed client from his consulting business. Vanessa gave up a partnership track position at her firm due to the conflict of interest, only to have Jack console her with promises of starting their own practice together. He never showed up for the lease signing. The lies began to unravel. Linda discovered the money transfers, and for a moment, I thought she'd put the pieces together. But Jack was quick on his feet, spinning a tale of investment and luck. He claimed he was building a surprise vacation home for them, even showing her fake architectural plans. I watched as he charmed her back, a part of me wishing I could be as naive. She would later discover those same plans in Sarah's apartment. But the truth has a way of surfacing. Linda confronted him one night, her heart shattered after finding receipts for jewelry she never received. I was hiding in the shadows, my own heart aching for her. Jack's lies were beginning to crumble, and I feared I was next. He managed to convince her that she was being paranoid, that the stress of her job was making her imagine things. He even suggested therapy, which he generously offered to pay for. The phone calls kept coming. Sarah was persistent, and I knew Jack was running out of time. He began using multiple phones, color-coding his calendar for each woman, setting alarms to remind himself which persona to adopt on which day. He was juggling us like a circus performer, but the moment he dropped a ball, everything would come crashing down. And drop it he did, when he accidentally sent a group text meant just for Mia to 3 of us. And then it happened, the night of the big reveal. All 7 of us, unknowingly, arrived at the same restaurant, a reservation error he couldn't talk his way out of. I could feel the tension crackling in the air. Jack's face turned pale as he tried to navigate the disaster he had created. I felt a mix of dread and excitement. This was the moment we'd all been waiting for, though none of us knew it yet. Chaos erupted. Words were exchanged, accusations flew, and Jack was cornered. I stood back, watching the drama unfold, my heart racing. Rachel threw her engagement ring at him, the same family heirloom he had given to Rebecca and Linda. I felt a twisted sense of satisfaction. but also fear. What would happen to me? Would they see me as complicit? I had known about 3 of them and said nothing. In the end, Jack lost it all. His money, his charm, and the women who once adored him. I watched as he became a shell of the man we all fell for, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. But there was a price to pay. Linda had co-signed loans. Sarah had introduced him to her patients as a specialist. Rachel was homeless. We were all scarred differently by the same knife. I was pregnant. I never saw it coming. And as I held my baby, I realized I was the one who truly loved him, despite everything. My name is Lily, and I was the last woman standing. The tragic twist, Jack never knew about our child. He was so consumed by his lies that he never even realized how deeply he had hurt the people who loved him. Sometimes I see his smile in our daughters, and I wonder if the capacity to charm and deceive is hereditary. Sometimes love is not enough. Sometimes it leads to destruction. And sometimes the person you thought you knew is just a stranger in disguise. We 7 women formed a support group. Victims united by a common deceiver. Linda eventually bought back Rachel's family home using her inheritance. Mia performs benefit concerts to help women escape financial abuse. Sarah now runs a therapy group for victims of manipulation. Vanessa successfully sued Jack and won back some of our money. Rebecca finally took off the ring and put on a backpack. Traveling the world she'd put on hold for him. You know, it's a harsh reality that sometimes love, in all its beauty and complexity, simply isn't enough to bridge the gaps that life throws our way. It can weave a tapestry of emotions that, while vibrant and alive, can also unravel in the most unexpected moments. Love has this uncanny ability to cloud our judgment and distort our perceptions, leading us to believe that we truly understand someone. Yet, there are times when the person we thought we knew inside and out reveals layers and depths we never anticipated, ultimately transforming into someone who feels like a total stranger. It's a bittersweet irony, isn't it? The very thing we cherish can sometimes become the source of our greatest confusion and heartache. But from that heartache, we 7 women found each other, and perhaps that's a love story worth telling. And that, my friends, is how love, lies, and betrayal unraveled before our eyes. Some stories end in heartbreak, while others teach us lessons we never saw coming. But one thing is certain, love is never as simple as it seems. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales filled with drama, twists, and emotions that will keep you on the edge of your seat. There are so many more stories waiting to be told, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay tuned for more unforgettable stories.